Previously on The Ramble. You're not gonna kill Jack, are you? Don't ever come back here.
I'm a man of... See, Jack, you're a man of science. I mean, a man of science. I'm a man of faith.
Yeah.
Which is why we had to kill you, and you're not on the show tonight.
Yeah.
Aww. What if he doesn't come back? What if he's actually really, deathly ill?
What if he's got a kidney stone?
That would suck.
We could we could podcast him passing it. Just no.
You know, I'd like to feel bad, but after everything you guys have put me through,
yeah, exactly. That's one of the things that's kind of sad in a way, is that we all four care about each other, but we're also four numb to each other as well. It's like, you'll get over it.
Yeah, fuck nuts, it'll be fine.
It's a reservoir dogs of dickdom. We're just we've all got our guns out, I'm ready to take you down.
Exactly. Stop pointing that gun at my dad. Yeah.
So what's going on, gentlemen? How are you all doing?
Oh, pretty good. I went to look at a house today. Loved it. Probably can't afford it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, last week, I forgot to mention it last week. I put a bid on a house.
Oh, yeah. We talked about this, I think, on a...
So there's a reservoir just west of Fort Collins called the Horsetooth Reservoir. It's huge. And most of it is a state park. So, hiking and climbing and mountain biking and all that. But on the south side, you have a lot of campsites as well as a little small spot for residential houses. Well, there was this one that was not, totally my taste. It's a really small sliver of land, but the view was unbelievable. So I was like, you know what? I could buy that, just hold on to it for a few years, and then sell it for a lot more money.
There you go.
And so they were asking a certain price. I bid $15,000 over what they were asking. I lost to a guy who bid $100,000 over what I bid.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, it's because that's how insane everything is right now. With housing, everybody is so especially people moving out of where you're from, Chris, in California. People that if you're living on the Cape and you're selling a house for $2.1 million, and then you move to Colorado or Florida or Tennessee or somewhere else,
you can fuck everybody on it.
You can fuck everybody, and that's basically what a lot of people are doing.
It's literally the worst time in history to be a first-time home buyer.
Slide in a way.
So it's almost like 6 months ago, I was actually having a conversation with a friend of mine who was like, "Oh, I'm going to sign a lease." What?
Nothing. It just all of a sudden you were really up close to the mic, and it had this different effect. No, it was cool. I was trying to go with it.
So I was talking to a friend of mine 6 months ago, and he was talking about signing up a new lease for an apartment. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? You're just burning your money. Don't do that. You know what I mean? And then I was talking to him recently. Turn the brightness up there. There we go. Now I can see.
Hello.
I was talking to him recently, and it's not even worth it. It's actually a better deal right now to rent than it is to buy, which is fucked up. So speaking of you getting outbid by $100,000, I had a coworker of mine who has been feverishly trying to buy his first house with his wife, and the bidding wars around here are fucking ridiculous. Yeah. So he found this house. It wasn't the house that he wanted. Hey, Kim. Hey, Mike. Welcome to the chat. It wasn't the house that he wanted, but it was the house that he could throw a bid on at this point, right? And he was just trying to get something. So he put in a bid that was $50,000 over asking price.
So your mic is just because you're rotating it back and forth. So when you're directly in front of the mic, it kind of gives it a muffle sound.
But How about this? Is that better?
No, that's a muffler. Yeah, and then when you're to the side,
is that better?
What
the fuck?
Yeah, but when you're to the side of it, it's fine. It's just
kind
of
funny.
How
about
now?
No.
Worse. No, it sounds worse.
How about now?
It's a little bit better. Keep going. Syphilis.
I wonder if the
that sounds okay.
Does that sound better?
It sounds better.
Okay, cool. So I'll just stay closer to it like this then. So anyway, yes, ASMR episodes brought to you by me. Anyways, so he bid, or he put in an offer that was $50,000 over. What?
It's keep going.
Now it's the same. Like
it's weird. All right, once I finish the story, I'll fuck around on the mic and see if I can remember. Anyways, so $50,000 over asking, right? Yeah. And then he got outbid by somebody who put in a fucking brand new Ford F-150 into the offer.
Oh my God! What? I'm gonna give you a truck. Why not?
So the person who, like, I think they had a similar bid, but added into the contract a brand new 2022 Ford F-150.
Oh, well, those are rare because like the chips right now are so hard. Like I know Ford, Chevy, and like anything new is so hard to get right now.
Exactly. All right, I'm gonna mute myself and see if I can fix this shit.
So anyway, like I wasn't crushed. I was like depressed for like a day that I lost the bid for that house. But I was like, you know what? It wasn't my dream home. It's fine, no big deal. Well, then like 2 days later, this house popped up, and it was a little bit more money than what I have, and I was like, this is a really fucking nice house, dude. You know, and I sent it to my realtor saying like, wishful thinking, and he went, well, let's just see how long it takes, you know. Mm-hmm. So it's been 6 days since it went up or whatever, like almost a week, and it still sold, which in this part of the country is unheard of. Huh. And so I was like, well, let's go take a look at it and let's see, you know. And I took the tour of it today, and it's just, it's built in 1970. It's all like really gorgeous wood inside, like just, like it's not just cheap pieces of shit like you're saying today being built, you know. And I was like, oh man, I love this house. I love this house. And it's like, and then it's got this, I'll send you guys a few pictures privately of it. But like when you go into the backyard, which is not much of a backyard, it's like a 10-degree little elevation up to the edge of a cliff. And then the cliff just drops. And then all you see is just the Rocky Mountains. And everything beyond that cliff is owned by the city of Loveland as open space for like parks. So nothing can be built there. So it's just gorgeous. And I was like, how many bids does it have? And they're like, oh, one. But the guy had a shaky lender, so they rejected him. And I was like, well, if I bid a little bit lower, actually a lot lower than what they're asking, do you think they'll take it? And they were like, I doubt it. They probably want exactly what they asked for it. And I was like, okay. And then I'm over here like, Mom and Dad, like, come on, like, yeah. And then, of course, being from the South, they're like, I just don't think it's worth that much. I'm like, it's worth that much. Trust me, it's worth that much. And I don't think I'll get it. Like Dad's like, well, bid this. I'm like, no, that's like an insult to them if I bid that. They'll just, just throw it out.
And you thought about putting in a car.
I know, I should. Yeah.
Maybe not a brand new F-150. By the way, how does this sound? Is this better, worse, same?
It's better.
Okay.
It's better. And it was just funny. It was cool. Like every time you were like, it was just like really
$50,000.
Well, like I was thinking about it. Like my parents were like, "All right, well, you can bid this, because they'll help me out a little bit." But like, I was gonna be like, "Okay, they told me this number, but I'm gonna bid 50,000 over what they said I could bid." I'll just find that money somewhere.
Well, what's crazy is that like everyone is, all these sellers are all saying they want to forego inspections, and that's flying. Like it's actually a thing now. So like, a buddy of mine, my good friend of mine, is actually my mortgage broker. He does phenomenal work. He's refinanced me twice. He's just super easy to work with. And he was telling me these stories of these people he's working with about how many people, sellers, are saying they have a quote unquote strong preference, because they can't say you can't get one, but they're saying the seller has a strong preference to forego a home inspection, which is nuts.
But it's the buyers are the ones that do home inspections, though. Not
that's correct. Yeah. But the thing is, though, the sellers don't want to deal with the bullshit of having to fix stuff. Right. So what a lot of sellers are doing right now is they're telling their agent to say the seller strongly prefers to forego a home inspection, which in turn, when all of the prospective buyers are hearing this, they feel like, oh, I might get outbid by somebody who's willing to forego a home inspection.
That's bullshit.
Ergo, like this is what's happening, and it's crazy. And
all that tells me is two things. One, either the
there's
seller,
something wrong.
There's something
with
wrong
the
about the
house.
house, yeah. And then some dumbass is like, I don't care, I'll fix it if it's fucked up. It's like, never mind the black mold that's underneath the floor.
But it's
Right.
beyond the dumbass bit right now, because this is what it takes to buy a house now, which is fucking bananas. But here's the deal. Like, hear me out. I know you don't want to hear this next part, but people who are ready to buy a house in like 10 to 15 years from now.
Yeah.
So what's today? What year is it right now? It's 2021. So the 2035, 2036, I'm making a prediction that there is going to be a tremendous influx of properties being available for sale, and the housing market is going to go fucking bananas, and the prices are going to drop. Why? Well, not to sound insensitive, but all the baby boomers are going to die.
Yeah.
Aww.
Right.
Well,
and here's the thing. Their kids are not going to want to deal with their houses. So there's going to be a shit ton of properties become available in the next 15 years or so, and the housing market is going to crash.
Yeah, it's gonna crash, but I don't think it's for that reason. Because like if you look at
I've sounded really confident in my
You
explanation.
did.
You sounded really
sold me.
So you didn't fucking buy it?
I'm not ready to sell my house yet.
Well, I think because like if you look at anything built from basically 1965 or older, really older, and then up till around the mid 80s, they're good quality homes for the most part. Yeah, they're a little technologically, in the past, but they're well constructed homes. All the ones that I'm seeing built right now south and north of me are pieces of shit. Like one sheet of plywood walls. Yeah. And it's like, and so, in 15 years, like here, like they're selling for $500,000 or $600,000. It's like, but if you really get into it after so many years, it's like that house ain't worth shit, right. and it's, unless you're just desperate for a home. I mean, that's why I haven't bought some of these, is because like, why would I put my life savings into a piece of shit cookie cutter home?
Right.
Yeah, I'll have to die eventually. That's true, Kim.
It is true, Kim. But yeah, you're absolutely spot on, right? So my last house, the last house I had was built in 1890, 1885.
Yeah, I remember you telling us that. Yeah, it was a nice house. Yeah,
and it was, it was old, and it was like it had some like the old horsehair plaster and that type of shit. But the frame of the house, like the actual, the bones of that place were solid. Mm-hmm. I even had a fieldstone, foundation in the basement where it was actually looked awesome. Like all the exposed, stones and whatever. But the house is built like a tank.
Yeah.
This house was built. The one I have now was built in 1980. And there's still a lot of 1980ness to it. I'll tell you that. But for the most part, it's well built too, right? Yeah. I mean, it's still a well built house, but. Yeah, and granted, as you can see behind me, as evidenced by all the wood grain trim, and there's some.
I like wood grain trim though. That's what I liked about this house. That's what I liked about this house. It was built in 1968, and it had all like the solid dark wood beams. It was a nice mix of white and wood. And I was like, this is because it actually had character,
exposed beams and stuff.
Yeah, and I was like, I like that.
Yeah. But the problem is that right now you buy one of these houses and you forego a home inspection, right? And then you end up having to do necessary construction. Then you get fucked in the ass again because of this inflated fucking wood shortage or whatever the hell it is. Which is all bullshit, by the way.
I hear that the wood thing. Well, it's
dropping now.
It's just dropping.
Good.
So
shit. I've been using that as an excuse to my wife so I don't do all the projects that we want to do. I just don't feel like doing them. Sorry, honey, the wood costs too much.
Just related to home ownership. All day today, I worked with a carpenter who we pay to help kind of do repairs. He's more sage and wise on some of these things. I know some stuff. And so I'm just working with him and learning things as I am also kind of going around doing kind of all of the I'm paying him to be here. I'm going to be working my ass off too. And so we got a lot of stuff done around. He needed basically an extra hand today to rip boards and put these big 10 foot. Why are you jerking?
Extra hand.
Seen that extra hand.
So
stranger.
But that fact
Did you at
about
least
like
did you at least paint your fingernails?
no, I've been no, no fingernail.
He is
paint.
Loki.
So I got a lot of sawdust in my hair and a lot of like paint chips in my eyes. But no, I mean just like home ownership is just like this
You
continual.
gotta watch out for them paint chips, man. When
thing.
was this house built?
Yeah.
I know. I try to ignore the paint chips.
Dude, the lead levels in your body right now have skyrocketed.
Probably.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that the medicinal herbs take some of that away. So.
Oh yeah, good idea.
What, you forgot? Like I pregame this shit, man. Kim, you parents' house? Is it, what do you mean by parents' house? You have your parents' house. So.
She's either
It's
talking
a
about the
sour
boomer
one.
house or she's talking about paint chips.
Oh, sorry, my boomer sibs are older than I am, but our parents'
in
house
59.
was built
Yeah.
in 1959.
Yeah.
Ours
I
is
love,
1920.
I love houses that are built in the 50s because like it's a very distinct decade. When you see the
Yeah,
cabins, the little metal black handles. and
Yes.
Yeah.
they have like it's all these little and like pastel appliances, and you're just like, what the fuck? I mean, it's neat, but
There's so many things though, like after owning a home for so long that you go through and you're like, why didn't we do this like the first year, And of course you have kids and you don't have any like expendable capital to just like waste on some of these things. Well, not waste, but invest, because you're always investing in your house as you're working on it.
So
that's what's funny about this house is that I probably could afford it to buy it outright. But the thing is that if I do, I'm basically going to be living in a lawn chair and an IKEA couch and one bed in that house for a couple of years.
Yeah.
It's like people come to visit, like, "When'd you buy this house again?" A couple of years ago. You don't have any furniture? No, I don't, because I can't afford it.
It's so funny you mentioned that the 50s style thing too. Because I actually lived, and when I was in college, a friend of mine, his parents bought a house in the town in which he went to school, and there was like an investment thing where they rented it to us, and we lived there, and it was a shit show. But in the area in which I went to school, just outside of Boston, there is a style of home that was very popular in the 50s, because it was during wartime, right? So it was the real estate boom and development was huge, especially when it was in proximity to army bases and so forth and so on. So they were literally like the 1959 cookie cutter homes, and they refer to them as Campanelli ranches. So if you do a search for Campanelli Ranch, the Campanellis were actually a real estate developer, I believe. I might be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure it was, it was post-war. That's what it was, post-war building. They're from Framingham, where I went to school, and it's funny because the neighborhood in which I lived for this year or so, it was probably 300 homes that all looked like the Campanelli Ranch, which was like the L-shaped, ranch house. The L is holds the garage. And they call them slab houses, right? But they're all the same. And it's so funny because even in that was 20 something years ago, but even in 2001 or 2002, whatever the hell it was, when I was living there, they still had that same feel, the pastel appliances, right? Like, the brick wall that was all like part of the fireplace, and they painted over 700 times. You know what I mean? But they were awesome houses because they're just well built, and they did them right 150 times over in that neighborhood. But they're great houses. That's but now you see them getting expanded though. You see all these and they're all being jacked up into 2-3 floor houses. But to do that, the cost to do that is ridiculous because you have to dig down and create a foundation and basement on a slab.
It's interesting though, like how tastes and expectations have changed though since then. Because in the third, coming from the Depression, where it's like you're happy to have anything, then going through World War II, and then the 50s is like all you wanted was like that L shape with the 2-door garage. Like I have a car, I have a house, I am rich. And then now, like I see a home for sale that's like 1,700 feet or smaller. I'm like, Jesus Christ, like. How
do you live, man?
How do you live in that? Yeah, because it's like you have your bedroom, you have your kitchen, you have your living room, and that's it. And you're like, I'm like, because like now in our brains we have this whole image of like, I need a man room. I need like all these other stuff. And it's like 1,700 square feet ain't going to cut it. You know?
Well, what's funny is because I then purchased this house, which was a huge trend in the 80s. This is a split level ranch, right? So you guys on the split level ranch, you walk to the door and you got to make a decision. Like, are you going downstairs?
Oh, right.
Right.
You know, that's the. I'll pull up a picture of my house. That's where I'm living now. But what's interesting is that, like, you know, all these houses, much like the Campanelli ranches, the L-shaped houses, or whatever, like, and they're the cost and what goes into trying to quote unquote modernize these houses is incredible. So, like, I actually, let me just pull this up here. Hang on.
As Chris is pulling it up.
Hi-yo. So I've
been in a split level house before. I know exactly what you're talking about. You know, you come in and you either go up or you go down, and yep. I think we've all been in one at some point in our life.
I think it's kind of weird. I mean, Chris is the first person I know who actually has owned one. I've seen them.
Right, but it's so embarrassing.
It's just because, like, to me, my brain would automatically think, like, how the fuck am I going to move furniture in this place? Because, like, you immediately have to go up or downstairs and be like, you know. So maybe that's why you have movers. But I'm just so stubborn. And I'm like, I'll do it myself.
No, I mean it makes sense. I mean, we have just one main small level to our house, but because we have a basement, you know, and an attic that's converted. Oh yeah, and it's funny because, like,
that's
outside,
my house. I'm currently sitting right here.
Oh, cool.
So it's one of those things where, like, you know, this house was originally built. It was like this portion of it right here where the gutter goes down, and it was just that was the idea. Nice. But then that's cool. They added this bit here, which is my egregiously large bedroom. It's kind of stupid how large it is. But to do anything here, like, I have to, like, this is my living room, and then my kitchen's off to the back. And that was the point of one of my projects, is I'm trying to blow out the wall here, so this becomes one big, huge break room.
Blow the wall.
Yeah, don't blow the hole out. But I'm trying to build
where'd it go? I wanted to see. Was there a wreath in there? Was that a little kind of circle?
That was the Zillow picture. Shit doesn't look like that anymore.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, the idea was that I want to knock down that wall so I can open up the first floor, because the whole idea then they wanted to have, like, this, like, almost like compartmentalized living, and now the trend is open concept. So, like, we're constantly trying to take these old construction bits and trying to bring them up to the 2000s, 2020s,
21st century.
21st, that works too. But the quote I got to take down the wall and rebuild out that room, they range from like $17,000 to $35,000, and it's just like, fuck you, builders,
right?
And your stupid lumber. I'm like, shit, you're taking away lumber. I should be charging you.
I just feel lucky that we, like, any of the stuff that we did to our attic was during the COVID year before it went up in price. It was
you did at the right time.
So it just, timing, because it's like hindsight, it's like, oh shit. But also at the same time, when we were buying our house, it was right before the last bubble burst in 2008. We bought in 2006. So it wasn't quite, but prices were going up on houses, and we were trying to get into a house for a certain price range that we didn't want to. I don't know. It's always a shell game. I mean, there's a house just 2 doors down from me that is, because of the market, they've put it on for $185, but you have to do $150,000 worth of work to bring it up to speed. So
Jesus Christ, Nick just sent every photo ever taken of this fucking property.
Wait, what? Because it was today, so I was trying to take them for my dad, so I'm like, I'll take every picture of everything.
Yeah. There's 1,000 pictures. Dude, this place is beautiful.
I told you. Yeah.
Dude, why didn't you share them on the
because Chris does that. I don't do that.
No, you don't know how to do that.
I do, but they're on my phone, and I don't want to share them on my computer. I'd have to sync it. I'm like,
okay,
dude, this is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, I have high standards.
If the woodwork and the Yeah.
But what I liked about it is because it's old. Every single room in the entire house.
Does it come with that old guy?
Has a balcony. That's my realtor.
I know. I just
yeah. Well, I like it because like
Miami Mike says Nick is sending house nudes.
He
Exactly.
is. We're
I
actually.
am.
This is
I
all
am.
euphemism.
Oh shit, that's a huge ass garage too.
Yeah,
God
two door. Yeah, and
I
it's got a
can't
little
believe you
work
could back
area.
that shit up.
Yeah.
Oh, you got the on-demand hot water.
Yep. It's got two. It's got on demand and I'm surprised you knew that. Yeah, Chris. Yeah, it's got a solar.
What the fuck is that supposed to mean? I'm surprised I knew that.
From one picture, you just saw it and it was like, of all the ones I sent, you're like, oh, yeah, it's got the on demand water. Like,
well, maybe
I spent a good solid 3 months of my first month living in this house choosing which on demand hot water heater I was going to get installed.
Yeah,
they're fantastic. Dude, this has turned into like this old house or RCAD edition.
It's like Jack's not here. We're like,
but
to hour 2.
So I absolutely love the on-demand hot water heater. The pros are obviously you can take like a 4-hour shower if you really needed to, and it'd be super hot the entire time. The thing that sucks about on-demand hot water heaters, however, is that to go and quickly wash your hands, it takes a good minute for the hot water to get to the sink.
Well, there's two. There's like
only sucks in winter.
There's the on demand and there's the regular,
cold.
so you can switch.
So that's
if you
just
want
Oh, you can go. Oh, wow,
I can go back
fancy.
and forth. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. But,
Randy's calling this a boomer podcast.
Boomer podcast. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
Talking about
I can't even defend this. This is such a fucking boomer cast, which it should be the episode title.
Okay. Wait, but just one sec. May I, as producer?
Yeah, sure.
I think this is a perfect segue.
Oh.
Not for a commercial break.
But
for an email from Randy who wrote in, how do you know a joke is a dad joke? So I feel like this goes hand in hand with this podcast.
How do you know if a joke is a
dad joke? How do you know?
I read it, so I know the answer.
Oh, so it's apparent to you?
It is.
Oh, nice. That's
all
great.
Right. Finally, it paid off there, Randy. Your joke paid off.
Well done. And you know what? That fucking exhausted me. I think I need to take a break.
A Kit Kat break. Well done, gentlemen.
And we're back.
So we can take a break from the home. I mean, home ownership talk. Yeah. There is one other property. That's the one thing that pissed me off about being in Colorado, because a lot of people want to live here, is that you'll have like that house that I sent you guys, which is pretty much done, good. You can move in. It's good to go. Whereas there's a couple other ones that are,
except that it's haunted, guaranteed.
Yeah, except it's haunted. Yeah, it doesn't have bodies buried like some people's houses, but yeah, then there's other people's homes that they're basically a trailer, or they're so old they're run down. You can see rotted wood and all that stuff, and they're asking like brand new prices, and you're like, are you out of your mind?
No, they're not, because they're gonna sell.
Because they're gonna sell.
Crazy bit.
But it's like, like, oh, I already spent this amount, and now I have to invest in $100,000 or more into it, and it's like, oh.
There's a house down the street from me that was, I think it was maximum, maybe 1,300 square feet in total. Right, small little house. It was just as. It was the people who lived there either foreclosed or died or whatever, because it just turned into an overgrown mess. So the developer came in, bought the place. Granted, they revamped the inside of it, no doubt. Like they cleaned it up real nice, and it was, from an interior perspective, it was almost brand new. But don't get me wrong, this is like a 1,500 square feet home, no garage, on a main road with like a postage stamp of a backyard. It just sold for $565,000, which blows my fucking mind, and also makes me happy because that instantaneously raises the value of my house, and I might be able to take a loan against that. So, yeah.
My boss sent me, because he knows that I've been looking for a while now. He sent me because I think I found a place you can afford on Zillow. It was it's the tip of Cape Cod.
Just the tip?
No, it was like that's where it's located. He was just joking with me.
Bro, Provincetown?
Yeah.
So the underlying joke there
Provincetown.
It
was $120,000 for a parking spot.
Yes.
It's like you're out of your mind.
Provincetown, Massachusetts, which is the very tip of Cape Cod, is a very secluded. Takes you a long time to drive there. You can take a ferry boat from Boston if you wanted to. But
you're gonna meet some dickish people along the way.
No, well, you're gonna meet some dicks along the way because it is literally the most populated per capita LBGTQ plus community. And it's actually phenomenal. Look, the place is fantastic. It's a huge tourist attraction every summer. But the craziness, the parties, all the pride stuff that they do, they have like theme weeks throughout the entire summer. And fun fact, I went there with my wife and my daughter 3 years ago, and I had a huge. You remember I had my big ass fucking beard, like the egregious beard. I had that summer, and we went down to Provincetown to spend the day because there's some of the best restaurants, and it's a great bar scene. It's just a beautiful place, and I'm noticing that I'm getting a significant amount of looks from men as well, right?
You're a bear.
And it was Bear Week. And I had no idea. I had no idea until after the fact. We're walking down the street and you see the fires. It's Bear Week Bonanza, 2-for-1 drinks or whatever. And I'm sitting there. I looked at my wife. I go, "Did you see this shit?" And she starts dying laughing. I was like, and she's like, "You should go get some free drinks."
Go work.
No, but the thing is though, it's also super, super wildly expensive because Provincetown is a beautiful place. Like, it's one of the nicest places in Massachusetts, hands down.
I think I've got a friend of mine. He's 50 something, and he's a bear. And I see why men are attracted because he's one of those sweetest, calmest guys, kind of like Colky, and when they wrap their arms around you, you just feel like all warm and fuzzy because they're just it's like, oh, I get the appeal.
Yeah. But man, it's if anyone who's ever listening was ever going to go into the Cape for any reason, carve out at least a day to go and spend out in Provincetown. The place is absolutely amazing.
Randy's giving bear advice. He says, "Never run from a bear; it triggers a predator response."
Fun fact that nobody will really care about, but the place that I rent during the summer, which is happening in like 9 days, not that I'm counting, at night when it's clear, if you sit on the beach, which we do every night, we have fires on the beach and just chill. If you look straight out across the bay, you can see Provincetown. You can see the lights of everything that's going on because it's like the Cape Cod kind of comes over like an arm.
Right.
My fingertips are Provincetown, and like I'm staying right here. So if you look straight out across the bay, you can see all the things that are going on, and you see all the fireworks shows along the inside of the Cape on the 4th of July. It's the best part of the week. It's awesome.
Cool.
It's the best. Simply the best.
Better than all of the rest.
Okay, so now we change topics from real estate and home.
No.
You want to keep talking about real estate and home ownership for another half hour?
No, that's okay. We can talk about other things, but it was really fun because, again, I worked on my house all day, and so it's a weird, cool experience to just be like, yeah, home ownership, I'm doing this, and just the general weird middle-aged high you get after a hard day's work where you're like, all right, things are a little bit better, and even just like, it kind of gives you a little bit of more of a energy, like, okay, I got to get back out there and I got to fix that and I got to fix that. And the weather here right now, and my heart goes out to everybody suffering in some of the severe heat out west, but it's been actually very mild and nice here.
Oh, nice.
And so really kind of enjoying this.
It's a dry heat, though.
It's dry.
It's my sister from Washington who had visited recently, she complains about the humidity when it's here.
Well, that's what I think
she's about to experience 105, 106, like 3 days in a row.
Is it that hot there?
It's this weekend. If you look up Portland, Oregon, check out the temps. It is it's crazy. Let me pull it up.
Wait, here. Portland, Oregon? Are you? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Are you in Oregon right now?
No.
He's saying his sister is
my
from
sister.
Portland.
I used to live.
I thought. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing in Oregon?
So So I lived in Vancouver, Washington, for middle school of my life, and my sister lives out there. That's where my mom lived, and so Vancouver, Washington is right across from Portland. So when I'm looking at weather, I'm usually just looking at Portland.
Right.
But anyway, over the weekend, they're predicting Saturday 106, Sunday 111.
Damn.
And Monday 106. So
that's when you wake up in the morning. Hopefully, you got air conditioning cranking, and you're just like, you know what? Fuck the world today. I'm not leaving.
But they're worried about power.
Yeah,
you know,
it'll happen. Yeah,
and so
everyone cranking their ACs.
Yeah, and really, I mean, they're a kind of an area that's not known for having to really run their ACs that much, and there's some places that just don't have it because you can survive with. So
it's.
I mean, it does get hot there in the summer, but it's usually not that hot. So 111, that's crazy.
It's crazy for that in far north. Yeah. Well, I think I told you guys this story. Like one of my coworkers, he's probably 50 now, maybe 49, somewhere in that. But he's from Portland originally, and we had to go to Dayton in November, I think, of 2019 for work. And the temperature was supposed to be like 39, 40 degrees. And he's like, but it's also calling for snow. And he's like, oh, man, that's going to be perfect. And I was like, you realize that 39 degrees in Ohio is completely different than 39 degrees in Colorado, right? Because 39 degrees in Colorado is lovely. It's awesome because it's just no humidity. Right. The sun, because you're so high up in elevation, the sun's hitting you, you're warm, it's great. 39 with snow and a little bit of humidity or moisture in the air in Ohio is miserable. And, and he's like, whoa, should I bring other stuff? I was like, yeah, you need to bring like a thick coat, dude, or a good like rain, something, and even when we got there, he was not prepared for the misery that was going to be that. But anyway. So I found it really interesting that both you guys are referring to Norse mythology in your names tonight, but from two different shows.
Yeah, and interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. So Matt is referring, for everyone out there, Matt has Love is Loki, and he is watching Disney Plus's Loki show. And then Chris has Bad Word. And then Yuto.
Which is interesting, even more so, because the episode of the show that I'm watching right now is season 2, episode 6, the finale of the show.
Oh, wow, you're almost done.
Dude, I've mainlined this show.
Yeah.
And the episode is titled All You Need Is Love.
All You Need Is Love. That's right.
Yeah. I'm looking at it paused right now on my new monitor, by the way. I got a 4K, 120 hertz.
Nice.
So, HDMI 2.1 monitor. Thing is slick. I can play my Xbox at 120 frames per second in 4K.
That day, I when my nephews were ready, we hooked up the Nintendo 64 up to my HDMI to my OLED TV. You talk about fucked up looking when you see like this old 20-something technology on a just awesome TV. You have to immediately put the ratios all the way down as far as you can go, and even then, it's still not great. Anyway, go ahead.
As I said, Sherry asks what brand. I'm assuming she's talking about the monitor. The brand is called. I think it's Aorus, AORUS or something. It's the gigabyte model.
Aorus
monitors. Aorus, I believe.
Is it? How do you spell that again?
I don't fucking know. It doesn't say that.
Sorry, I'm being a jerk. Hey, your thing got brighter.
Yeah, I'm looking at the website.
Oh, okay.
So
it's Gigabyte Aorus.
Gigabyte Aorus.
I'm gonna misspell it.
Areola.
I'm trying to spell it for one of the names.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
I do like the preparation. It's actually one of the first monitors available that can do 4K at 120 frames per second. So I'm excited about it. Waiting for a while to get one. But anyways, so the Norse mythology in both of our names. I'm watching Ragnarok, and you are watching. I think we're all watching Loki.
Yeah, we're all watching
from Disney Plus.
So last week, for anyone didn't turn in last week, I had recommended to Chris, because Chris was talking about some of the coming of age shows that he's watching. Superman and Lois and all these.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, you should watch Ragnarok, because if you like that kind of story, you're going to get that as well. And Ragnarok is on Netflix. It's a Netflix original. It is in Norwegian, but they dub it and have subtitles, so it is enjoyable. But this is a modern telling of the classic Viking tales. So it's a very good show. The first couple episodes, you're at least that's how I thought. I wasn't quite sure if I was sold on it, but then there's a certain point in I think the third episode where you're just like, okay, yeah, I like this show now, and it's good. It's definitely worth a watch.
Yeah, so it's got 2 seasons right now, 6 episodes apiece. They're hour-long episodes. And I started watching it, I think, 2 days ago. And it was one of those things where, the first episode, it's definitely a lot of setup. But once the story gets going, I found myself just sucked into watching the show. And as Nick mentioned, it's kind of interesting because it does the overdub in English plus the subtitles, which don't all they did not write the subtitles for the overdub. They did the subtitles based on a translation. It's clear because they don't always line up, and some of the dialogue definitely does get lost in translation. It feels super fucking awkward. But overall, the writing is fantastic, and I'm not giving any spoilers away, but it's essentially kind of like a next generation origin story of Thor, which is the premise of the entire show. It's awesome. I am overpumped for this show, and I've told 87 people to watch it.
All right, so tell me again, because I'm just paying attention now. What channel is it on?
Netflix.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fuck, I think I canceled my Netflix.
I'll
get it back.
Yeah,
it's just it's kind of one of those.
It's good though, because you definitely at times go like, oh, this is predictable, but then at that point you're like, I'm fine with it because there's other things going on,
Yeah.
But I thought it's well. Actually, the guy playing Thor is the one character I was like, I'm not sure if I'm bought on him. Like the guy they cast as Loki, love him. Like
awesome,
dead on,
awesome. What's interesting, I think he's actually a really great actor because there's a turning point in his character, which kind of happens at the end of the first, right before the second, kind of into the second season, where there's a real significant turning point for him, and his acting flipped as well. Like it was like you could tell like a marked difference. So I think he's actually just a really good actor. He's just super fucking awkward because you can't hear what he's saying. Why are you mocking us?
I'm just doing. I have to fill.
Are you trying to be Jack?
Yeah, exactly. That's what he's doing. He's channeling Jack. But you should just go to sleep. Yeah. Okay, you guys done yet? I'm ready to talk about the Padres.
All right, so let's move away from Ragnarok then, which is 2 thumbs up for me. Definitely go watch Ragnarok. Let's talk about Loki.
I missed today's episode, but I really enjoyed the first 2. So you weren't. We talked about this on last week. Me and Matt did with on the Owen and Brews.
We did,
how we were. I was talking about how I was not that impressed with WandaVision. I respected it. There was definitely times I liked about it, but to me, the only thing that's really crucial about WandaVision is the very last scene where you see how she is going through the multiverse, trying to find that one timeline where she actually did have her children with Vision. And I was saying how this could be really interesting with Loki if they somehow put that her element of that going through the multi-vision whatever with Loki's and the whole time cop thing of like, oh, we have to stick to the main timeline and that's it. Like, how is all this going to play into effect?
Yeah, it could be interesting, like, because that could be where the next phase is going with the Marvel, the larger universe. Because it feels like they're not just throwing away these shows. Like, these are main characters, and this is building towards something. So, I like what Nick had suggested, because I never thought about her searching the multiverse for her children. I never like, for whatever reason, or if we did talk about it, I had forgotten about it. But I think that's a brilliant idea, and it makes sense to me.
Thanks, Jack.
So, and I think, Chris, did you watch today's Loki? And we don't have to
I didn't watch today's Loki,
okay.
But my commentary on the first two, I don't know about you guys, but for me, the first episode, I had to fucking gnaw through that episode and chew it because it was just so fucking boring. And I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I just couldn't stick with it, and I literally fell asleep watching the first episode and had to go back and watch it again.
Yeah,
it does have a slower pace, the first one,
the first one to me felt like a Men in Black type show, and I was like, I'm not sure if I like this. I'm not sure if I like where we're going with it. Like,
right.
The second one though, I enjoyed a lot more.
And I'm not going to spoil anything for the third one. I'll just say that it continues to expand and explain, as well as move the story in a way that you're just kind of like, okay, and and I'm trying to be as vague as possible, but I really enjoyed this because it really starts to gel the first two together, and you're kind of like, you're understanding these as chapters on their own. I mean, they do kind of feel like comic books, because by the end you're kind of like, you're left like, oh, and so I enjoy that. So, and there's definitely like some dialogue, not to give anything away with my name tonight, but that dialogue comes up, and I really liked that part, and just where that's, and you know what, Disney Plus is doing it right, because there are these shows on there that even my wife will sit down, because she's like, all right, my son's into this show, my husband's watching it, I'll watch it, like, and she's hung in there and been like, okay, I'm curious enough. So
like it's the second episode. I agree. I thought the second episode like really kind of like brought it together a little bit more for me, and it got me intrigued. So I'm looking forward to episode 3. The one thing that I'm really the interesting part of last episode, we can talk about, is they really expanded the idea of what the multiverse could turn into, and it's a really cool. It's a better way of saying it. They did a visualization of like what it could be, right? Which is kind of cool. So you kind of see how the storylines could expand and go in 87 different directions. My biggest concern, though, the thing I fear the most, is that everything that's being set up right now could potentially bring back Tobey fucking Maguire as Spider-Man, and it freaks me out.
Well, I think that's what the original, I'm not sure if they're still doing it or not, but the third Spider-Man movie, that's what it's going to be like, because it's like Far From Home, whatever, and this was supposed to be like, I forget the title, but it plays on that once again, but now it's going to be the multiverse, so you're going to have Andrew, whatever his name was, but you'll have Tobey Maguire, Andrew McCarthy, or whatever his name, Garfield. Yeah, Andrew Garfield, and you'll have him, as well as some of the other multiverse Spider-Man.
If they do that, if that's what happens, and they don't introduce Miles Morales,
I think they will. Yeah, they have.
I think they will.
They have to.
Yeah. Like that. Like, who would you cast as Miles Morales?
Oh man,
I think they would go with somebody younger you probably haven't heard of, because with the other two, with Toby and Andrew now being older, they probably would want a teenager version.
Yeah, well, it makes sense too, because I mean, even the current person, I mean, when they got him, I was like, who's this kid?
He's like 26 or 27 now.
Right. I mean, think about it. I mean, in you go through 2 movies at least, and you've already aged out of like your high school. I mean, that's why they just get him young, these Hollywood producers.
That's in so many ways.
So cringy. Speaking of cringe, we were watching Seinfeld. And there's a couple in the season 9 where you're like, oh, this is kind of weird, like the one where Jerry is they're basically getting this girl like kind of drunk on wine so that he can play with her toys. And then like George gets jealous, and then they go over and then like they feed her turkey and give her lots of wine, and then she falls asleep, and they just play with all of her toys. She's got a lot of vintage toys. And then by the end, Elaine is going over and tricking her so that she'll fall asleep and she can play. It's so awful and so cringy and funny, especially in the context now of what we know with Bill Cosby. It's
So
like
this is the point where Matt takes the podcast in a completely different direction.
sorry, that might just be the edibles kicking in there. What were you guys talking about before this?
Yeah.
We were talking about Marvel movies.
Talking
or
about
Loki.
the multiverse and how it could go fucking awesome or bass backwards.
All right.
But Miami Mike said Nick Cage could make an appearance. He
He
could.
could.
Good. That'd be cool.
Why would Nick Cage make an appearance?
Because he's in
He's
the
Skull Guy.
he's in the movie. Yeah.
The skull. Guy.
Night.
Oh, Night
Ghost
Ranger.
Rider. Ghost Rider.
But he's also one of the Spider-Men, isn't he? From
Was he
Into the
Strange?
Multiverse.
When is Nick Cage?
I thought he was in the multiverse of.
You're thinking of
the
Nick
Spidey movie.
Miller from New Girl.
Nick Cage.
By the way, like the other night, Nick and I, like after we recorded Owen and Bruce, we had this whole long conversation about sitcoms. It was kind of cool and crazy because it was pretty in depth. I mean, we talked about Friends.
Yeah, he was okay. Sorry. I had to look it up real
No.
quick. So I was trying to say
No.
he was
It's
in
fine. Go
in
ahead.
the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse movie as Spider-Man Noir. So he was like the
The voice.
Noir. He was the voice of
Okay.
it.
Of course, Matthew Treist showing me up.
Oh, there you go.
Just-
I just
I
did a
know.
quick IMDb search. But yeah, Matt Treese is literally a fucking encyclopedia. He has the answer to every question on this show.
You can take over. I'll just, or you can take over for Jack, who's not here tonight. Well,
Is he?
oh, is Jack not here?
Oh no!
If you're
it's
just
not.
joining us, Jack is not here because he got sick with this not COVID flu that's going around.
Yeah,
My kids got it.
my wife has it.
My wife has it right now.
Dude, this is weird. This is happening.
Right, I know. We're
my
Franklin.
kid had it, and my wife is upstairs right now, like all fucked up from it.
Yep.
Currently.
Yep. And so tune in next week. Previously on Ramble, we'll find out if Chris and I both
Just
get
be,
it.
yeah, just
No.
be me and Jack.
If I get
So-
sick, I'll be so pissed. I'm going to the
Yeah, it's
beach
gonna be
in like
Nick and
9
Jack.
days.
Yes.
Can you imagine if it was just a podcast of Jack and me? We would talk about nothing.
I don't know. You guys have some quite.
We do, but it'd be one of those things like, "Hey, I'm watching this show, Jack. What do you think?" I haven't heard of it. Tell me about it. All right. Hey, did you see the Padres? No,
I'll
I
tell you
didn't.
right now, though, it's been nearly 53 minutes, and I've almost forgotten that San Diego exists.
I heard it was wiped off the face.
South LA.
Nothing's from San Diego. You know, I mean,
No.
Yeah, I think John, the UPS driver, backed up his vehicle, took out San Diego. It no longer has really great weather. Anyway. I wanted to say, Nick, though, you suggested the show Coupling.
Yeah.
And I
Did I?
gave it a shot. I watched the pilot, thought it was funny. I liked how it progressed. It kind of surprised me, and it's well written.
Of
You
the
know,
first 3 seasons, though, the pilot is my least favorite episode.
Really? Okay. Again, the first 10 minutes, you're like, oh, what
the hell's going on?
What's going on? But I like how it gels together at the
Mhm.
end and kind of see the collection. So Coupling, for anybody that's a BBC show.
So
that-
I'll set up a little bit.
you probably know more about it than I do.
So after the Owen Barus, like Matt said, we had this huge long conversation about Friends and the New Girl, and then I got it, and then because I've always recommended it to people, and not many people that I know have ever watched the show. It was a BBC show from 2000 2004 called Coupling. There's only about 6 to 9 episodes per season. They're only a half hour, and it was Stephen Moffat's very first show he wrote. He also wrote Doctor Who. He wrote Sherlock. He's got a lot of really good shows under his belt, but this was his first one. And if you're a big fan of Friends, you will love Coupling. Coupling is like a little bit naughtier, especially for its time. it's all about sex versus Friends was just about being friends and drinking coffee, whereas they're at a pub. But it's a good show. And the first 3 seasons are comedic gold. The best and fun, in the 4th season, like the Chandler-esque character leaves after the end of the 3rd season. So the 4th season suffers a little bit from not having that iconic character, but it's good just to you see the story wrap up.
Mm-hmm.
But I do highly recommend that show. If you have HBO Max right now, you can watch it for free.
Okay, it's on there.
Yeah, I have it on DVD, but I bought it, like 17 years ago. But anyway, it's a good show. Give it a chance if you can. You'll get through it, no problem. But there are some definitely episodes that you will be pissing your pants laughing that are so good. I think it's the 2nd episode of the 2nd season is probably in my top 2. It's where Jeff finally gets a girlfriend, and you see what happens with that, and it's comedic gold. So anyway,
well,
so you just watched the pilot though. That's it.
I've just watched the pilot. I've been a bit on I've been rewatching the show Solar Opposites in preparation for Rick and Morty. And of course, it's different. Solar Opposites is it's not Rick and Morty. It's its own thing. But it definitely has that same vibe. And of course, the voice of Rick plays Neymar. Was that? I think the guy's name. I don't know. I really like it for the wall. There's a whole wall storyline, and it gets really it's like this story within the story, and sometimes the aliens are funny, sometimes the wall story is funny, sometimes it's an odd show. Rick and Morty's back. I don't know if anybody's caught the new episode, but
I've never watched one episode of it, and I know I need to.
Really?
Yeah. Jay has recommended it to me from day one, and it's just one of those, now it's got so many seasons under its belt. It's like, I'll watch it at some point. I just haven't done it. Speaking of the wall though, which is totally different. Did you see where Roger Waters, apparently Mark Zuckerberg offered him so much money to borrow another brick in the wall. And basically, Roger told him to go fuck himself.
The best part about it is I don't even think he responded to him to the request. He was at a completely non sequitur event, and somebody asked him about it, and he just blew up Mark Zuckerberg in front of a bunch of random people. He's like, "Fuck you! You're not taking my fucking song."
Yeah, well, it's because Roger Waters is not a left or right person. He's just I'm against authority. That's what he's always been about. He lost his father in World War II. He was raised by a single mother. He's always hates anyone that is consuming power. And that's what he sees Facebook as. It's this all-encompassing company that's going to rule the world, like Amazon or anything else. And he's just you want my help? Fuck you. And that's how he is, which is one of the reasons why I love him. But
that was
awesome. I love Pink Floyd though.
And they love you.
They do. Not as much as Loki, but yeah.
What I like to do is put on, a movie, do the Wizard of Oz with Dark Side of the Moon.
Dark Side of the Rainbow.
But have you ever tried Wish You Were Here with Star Wars?
No.
Hear me out. It's kind of cool because at some point, Welcome to the Machine comes on, and you're seeing the Death Star.
Dude, you could do that with fucking.
I know. But it's
Wally the machine.
All right, fuck you guys.
I do.
Try it sometime, maybe. I don't know. I love Wish You Were Here. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah,
so
it's the band's favorite record too. But I like.
I go back to it the most, and the end. Basically, the last 5 minutes of that album, Air built a whole career on. So if you enjoy that, Air is just seriously, the first EP of Air, I think the first 5 songs, is just that little section of Wish You Were Here, the end, the last little bits.
Metal was my favorite record for the longest time. Because I think most people stick to Dark Side or The Wall or whatever, and I was like, "Oh, you listen to metal?" And they're like, "What's metal?" I'm like, "It's the one before Dark Side, and they just don't. People don't recognize it. But to me, that's like. All right, so everyone out there, Miami Mike wrote, Roger Waters was selling his house, and the buyer wanted an inspection, and he told him, "Fuck you," which probably was true. I do too, Randy. Randy has tickets to see Roger Waters in August. I did too. He was coming down to Denver in 2020, and it got postponed till September of 2022 now. But still have the tickets, so looking forward to that. I saw him in LA in 2017, and he was basically doing a few tracks of his new record at the time, but he did a lot of Animals, which was surprising because they don't do a lot of songs off that record. There's only 5 really. But to hear some of those 17, 11, 12-minute long tracks played, you're like, yeah, but
it's awesome.
I had a t-shirt of that.
I'm so excited for live music again. I'm so. The last year and a half of not going to see a concert has been fucking brutal, and I'm seeing all these clips from the Foo Fighters because they just started a huge tour and they're going to like Madison Square Garden. Do you see the clip where Dave Chappelle got up on stage and sang Radiohead's "Creep" with Foo Fighters?
I'd seen a clip about it. I didn't get it.
Pretty good. Yeah. But they showed like a clip of the Madison Square Garden show, and it was just like the place is jam packed and everyone looked like they're having a blast. But like at Madison Square Garden, they're doing the you have to show documentation that you've been vaccinated, which is interesting. And there's a lot of people are protesting that.
Well, and just to note about the cold that's going around, we actually took our kids to the doctor because my daughter had just gotten her second dose, and so she's having this like these symptoms of just runny nose basically, and nothing more. But my son also had it as well, and then a sore throat accompanying it. So we took him in. They tested him for both strep and COVID, and the doctor was like, "This is completely normal. This is like the flu bug that we would normally have, but it's just delayed. Like it's just like it's a normal cold. It's just going around." And so, but it's just, who knows? Will Chris or I come down with it? Will we be immune to it? Who knows?
Don't fucking jinx it, dude. Fuck. If I fucking get sick, you motherfucker, this is on you.
No. I have plans too. I'd rather be sick now though before I go.
Don't loop me in on your shit.
I'm going dark side tonight. Hey, by the way, I have been doing this is the 4th part of a 4-parter. We have the after, the cast,
Matterhorn,
and the ramble.
Okay.
Gotcha. Wait.
So,
but you started off with dark though.
Yeah, because he's being.
I don't remember the other ones though, other than that one. I remember Ramble. I don't remember seeing Cast or.
You weren't here for Cast.
Oh, okay. I don't remember seeing
After was last week.
Was it? Okay, I guess just didn't notice it.
And then Dark.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. So anyway, just having a.
Oh, Randy got tickets to see Springsteen on Broadway, and you have to show your vaccine card. That's gonna be a fucking show. Like, dude, one of the best concerts I've ever been to was Bruce Springsteen, and it was like 5 years ago, and it was amazing. Like it was just like 4.5, almost 5-hour concert, and he didn't stop.
Yeah, that's one of the things I do love about like him and Elton and a few other ones. Like Billy Joel, I think does the same. Like you have such a huge catalog, and the tickets are reasonably priced. Yeah, they're a little higher up, but they give you way more
unbelievable
than your money, like because they give you such a show, whereas some of them piss me off is like that same generation that's like they'll come out and play like 16 songs and you're like, what the fuck, man? Like I gave you like $150 and you were done. Like you took a set break after 8 songs. What the hell?
So, I went and saw shit, what the fuck was the name of that band? I forgot. I'll think of it later, but it does irrelevant. So I went to this concert. I was like super pumped to see it. And it was at like the Boston House of Blues, which is a decent sized venue. It's not a small place, but it's not like not an arena by any stretch. It was shit. What was that song? I'm gonna get Nathaniel Rateliff in the Night Sweats. and I went. It was they did a show at the House of Blues, and I remember we paid money to go there. We sat through a couple opening acts, and we were super pumped to see them play. And they literally got up and played like the CD, like it was just the same track. The concert set list was the CD track list.
It's Nickelback.
That's what it felt like. I was so pissed. I'm sitting here, and I'm definitely like, I fucking love concerts. I love the feel of being at a live show and the energy you get from seeing the band and the live and around people who are just fucking obsessed. And it's always great, but there was no fucking magic to this concert. It literally felt like someone hit the play on the CD player, but you could see the music video in front of you. Like that's what it felt like.
Could have been. I mean, there's definitely times where I've seen you could like one record by a band, and you're like, oh, but then they could be a fairly mellow band, and then you get to see them in the show, and you're like, oh man, I instantly regret buying this show because you want to fall asleep. Or I remember I saw Dr. Dog, which is an indie band. Where did I see? I saw them somewhere in LA, and I after 4 songs, I was ready to leave. I was just like, this because it was all just the same kind of. Nothing to pump you up whatsoever and make you really want to get into the show. I was just like, I'm done.
Yeah. I'm pumped. Did I tell you I'm going to see Genesis?
You did? Oh yeah, you told me that. Yeah, I remember.
Yes, I got tickets to go see Genesis. They're it's what's his name? Phil Collins' son's playing drums. Because he can't.
Right.
But he'll sit there on a stool and sing his heart out for the entire night, which I'm super pumped. You just got tickets to see Dispatch. I don't know if you guys know what Dispatch is. They're kind of like back when we were in college, they were kind of big. And of course, I'm going to see Dave Matthews at the Gorge in September.
And you've never really been to the Gorge, right?
No.
You're in for a treat.
I'm going for 3 nights too. It's gonna be fucking nuts. But so I'm just super pumped to be back in live music again. Like it's one of my favorite things, my wife's favorite things to do. And the last 18 months, we haven't seen a show, which is first world problem. I get it, but that's just what we love. But
at least you recognize.
But it's just one of the things that we love to do, and that's where we think we spend all of our money egregiously on concerts just because it's fun.
Yeah.
But now we can do it again, so it's just.
When I lived in LA,
get it out.
We'd get it. Our company, you had your base salary, and then once a year, you got a huge bonus. And it's every March, and usually April is when the Hollywood Bowl would announce its schedule for the entire summer. So starting in May all the way through September, every single show that's going, and I would basically blow half of my bonus every year on concert tickets to the Hollywood Bowl.
Yeah,
and that's one of the things I really do miss about LA is just how much access you have to music. Because hell, it's like. What year was it? They did Michael Giacchino did a Lost concert in LA.
Concert, yeah.
And if I would have never had gone to that if I hadn't have been living in LA at the time. And so I was like, Cliff, do you want to go? This is like, yeah. And so we saw Ralph there and people that all from our community that lived in that area, we're all going to the Lost concert, and it was great. And then there was probably 10 people from the cast that were there, and it's like this is great. But you're in the treat for the Gorge. To me, there's only a handful of places in the U.S. that everyone needs to go at least once in their life. Carnegie Hall is one of them. The Ryman in Nashville, the Hollywood Bowl, the Gorge, and Red Rocks. Maybe Austin Music Festival, but as actual
Austin City Limits.
Austin City Limits, Austin City Limits, Austin City Limits. There's only a handful of music venues, actual venues that people need to go to, and the Gorge is one of them.
So I did Red Rocks a few years back, and then I'm doing the Gorge this year. I would love to get to Austin. I think Austin would be phenomenal. I haven't gone to a show in Tennessee or Nashville.
The Ryman is in downtown Nashville. It's the original Grand Ole Opry. It's just a big church. If you can see a show, try to see an all acoustic show because that's where the sound really comes out.
Just goes nuts. Yeah,
and because you're sitting in church, what are they called? The benches.
Pews.
Yeah, you're sitting in church pews. And so that's what it is. It's like a holy church of music. And it's just unbelievable. Paul McCartney has a story because he recorded one song there in Nashville in 74. It was his single time. Junior's farm. And
So
that was one of the things he remembers about Nashville is that he goes, yeah, I wanted to go to the Ryman because it's one of those legendary places. And I remember looking underneath the benches and just seeing like tons and tons of bubble gum stuck underneath all the, the bench. Because it's like, how American is that? It's like you're sitting in church and then just like taking your gum out and sticking it underneath the, it's like,
so dude, I have to show this to you guys too. I'm not
the
sure
Fillmore, yes, yeah. Johnny Abyss says the Fillmore. That's another.
So there is a venue that I went to in college all the time, and it still is one of my favorite venues to go to, and it's no longer there. I mean, the building is there, but they've since moved to downtown Boston. But it was the original Boston House of Blues. And you just reminded me of it, and I saw a bunch of shows there, and it had just such an amazing feel and energy for a room when you're seeing a concert there. And you made me think about that for a second here. Let me just pull this up. So this is the House of Blues, which is literally
a blue house,
a fucking blue house, right? And you walk in, but this is what's inside.
Wow, that's awesome. It's
Hold
just
on,
black
let's go.
screen now, but yeah, I saw
Oh
that.
shit!
There
we go.
There we go. Yeah, that's
So-
really cool.
So that's it's like a restaurant during the day, and this turns into where the shows are. And like here's a good picture of of
Blow
what
that
that looks
shit up.
like. I don't know if I can.
Okay.
Google image search is not that great. But the feel of the place was just absolutely incredible. But it's no longer there. It's the House of Blues. It's now in downtown Boston.
What am I doing here? There we go.
What are you doing?
The edibles have kicked in, everyone,
Yeah.
on that side of the screen.
For sure. But the place is incredible. They've since moved into a bigger, more modernized venue, like right next to Fenway Park. But the old one was just so fucking cool. So yeah, I can't wait to go to a concert. It's gonna be the best.
That's awesome.
Now, who you seeing at the Gorge? Dave?
Dave Matthews.
Yeah, Dave. Okay.
With a crazy list of opening acts too. Some really great acts, including she wrote the theme to National Lampoon's Christmas or Family Vacation, not the Lindsey Buckingham song, but the other one.
That's when I think of National Lampoon's, I think of Lindsey Buckingham.
Yeah, always do.
Hold on, that was
Matt has gone White Rabbit. He went down the hole.
Yeah, Matt's fucked. Matt is fucked.
And now he disappeared. He put the cloak invisibility on. Drink up, change seats.
All right, I'm pulling up the set list of who's opening up. So it's Dumpsta Funk, which is a crazy funk band with Alan Stone on one night, Rustin Kelly, Robert Randolph, and the Family Band.
Ooh, you'll love Robert.
Amazing.
Yeah, you'll love Robert Randolph. Yeah.
In the third night is Robert Randolph again, and it's Mavis Staples is the singer.
I know that name.
Song.
Yeah.
She's been around forever.
Jerry, I hope you're taking photos of Matt. Yeah, Creed and Nickelback are, I think, on the first.
Oh,
night.
really?
Yeah.
Creed from The Office?
Yeah.
No, not that. Oh,
So,
damn
the-
it.
It's the actual opening Christmas Vacation song. Christmas Vacation.
Oh, that.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah.
That's Mavis Staples, but she's like a gospel singer and
Yeah.
this whole thing.
All
But she's
right.
also like 100, so it's gonna be interesting to see if she's still around.
You know,
for the concert.
I saw Pete Best kind of that way. You know, like, I mean, he was kind of definitely like older, and his son was kind
So
of like.
what you're saying is he wasn't
He
quite
just,
at
he
his
just had
best.
one drumstick. He just hit the cymbal every now and then. Yeah, like, yeah, I still got it.
But it was kind of cool, you know. It's like, well, I saw Pete Best, you know, but it's also kind of like, well, I saw Pete Best.
Yeah.
So.
And Pete Best saw me.
Fuck you, man. How does it feel to be a loser?
Now, have you ever seen or really listened to Robert Randolph though, Chris?
Yeah, oh yeah.
I
I hadn't prior to hearing about them opening, but since hearing, I've checked them out.
Well,
Yeah, he was either
sure
at
you do.
02 or 03 Bonnaroo. That's the first time I ever saw him
Yeah.
live, and just unbelievable, because like his CDs are okay, but seeing him live is, of course, it's been many years since, but he was just such a, like a lot of those guys, just performer of just like energy and like just hitting that slide guitar. Just
dude, I can't wait. Like, because when you have the type of person who's going to go and get tickets to go see Dave at the Gorge, which is you literally have to. It's a fucking trek, right? So it's not like going to a concert. Like it's a fucking excursion.
Yeah.
So like the caliber of fan that's going to be at this show for like the first like big concert they're seeing in since COVID. It's gonna be a fucking mental scene. I cannot wait. Matt, are you okay?
That's what I'm saying. Is like you're saying mentally, he's over here giggling like a schoolgirl. Like,
fuck you, man.
How many milligrams was in that gummy? I'm curious.
he just took it, man.
Dude, what was in the gummy?
Look, like just let me be, okay?
There's a little leprechaun in the corner over
all
there.
right. I'd like to thank all of the patrons that make this show possible.
You can't just end the show just because you're uncomfortable.
Okay, we're gonna take a commercial break
Again?
now. Right now. Okay, guys, what are we gonna do about this show? Okay, like we need to pull it
This is
together.
probably the highest I've ever seen Matt. It's fantastic, man. You know what? You earned it. A long day of work on the house.
True. On the house.
I'm probably half of it's probably lead by now. So.
Oh my god.
No, okay. Ready? Commercial break and back. All right, welcome back.
We've been back.
Previously on Ramble. So, anyway,
Jack, I'm sorry, dude. Could you imagine if Jack was here right now? Like, he would be eating this up. You should FaceTime Jack.
No, he's out, and I understand. I mean,
he's in bed. He didn't have his makeup on. He didn't have his cap on. He'd just be like, oh.
So, I told you about that tattoo thing, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's this one's kind of faded more.
A little bit.
But I actually
looks like Saturn.
It'll come in darker by tomorrow probably. So, but it's fun though.
You still have your blue jeans?
No, that's kind of faded. It's faded.
Pity.
But look, yeah.
So it wasn't
I also
forever.
It wasn't forever.
I was trying to scrub that shit off. So.
So I went for my tattoo appointment the end of last week, and I found out they can't do it.
Oh, too complex or? Oh,
well, yeah, because of the style of the watercolor and how it
the
looks.
water. That's right.
He's like there's no way you can get this tattooed and have it look great for more than 7 days, like just because of how the ink can fade so easily with the watercolor style of tattooing. He's like, the only way we can do it is if I actually literally recreated it, which kind of loses the entire importance of why I wanted to get it done. So it's a no-go on my tattoo idea. But I did prepay to go and get this thing touched up. He's going to do some outline work to it and darkening it up to some of the colors.
And you should look into doing the ink box with your daughter's design. You can order one. And
that would be rad.
It won't be color, but you would be able to get like basically a black and white version.
That would be cool. Maybe I will do that.
So, because you can upload a file, or you can put in text of what you want. So there's a lot of custom options with that ink box. So check
it out.
Yeah, it's called ink box, and don't be fooled by inked box with an ed, because that's a different company with a different country, and Ink Box is actually from Canada, so still pretty.
A few years ago,
I'm trying to hold it together, guys. Okay,
you did a nice job with that. I got to tell you that you explained that very thoroughly, succinctly.
Hey guys, look at my tattoo.
Yeah, it's good.
It never occurred to me a few years ago, but I was back in my hometown, and I have a few friends that are tattoo artists. And I never thought about how, once you get one, it's kind of an addiction. Like you want one more, you want another one, and all this. And then you have to get touch-ups. And so you kind of get really personal or close with your tattoo artist. Or a Wampa. And I was hanging out with a guy that I graduated high school with, and he was just like really just like hanging out with me for a while. And I hadn't talked to him in years, and I thought this was really strange. And he goes, "You're probably wondering why I'm just hanging out with you." And I was like, Well, I just thought it was weird. Like, there's a lot of people here. I figured you want to socialize. He's like, no, I'm hanging out with you because everyone would be bugging me for a tattoo if I wasn't hanging out with you, right? Because nobody knew who I was. Because that's what they'll do. They'll walk up and be like, hey, like, you got an appointment? Can you squeeze me in? Like, can you touch this up for free? Like, hey, what would it cost? And it's like, and when they don't want to talk shop. I did an ink box tattoo of the house I want on Zillow.
Miami Mike said I did get an ink box tattoo of a house I want on Zillow. Is that for real? Are you fucking with us?
Just the house of broken dreams. Yeah,
is the house market that desperate? Do we need to bring this conversation back to this?
Look, you have to sell me the house because I already got it tattooed on my heart, man. Like,
I got the lead tattooed in my brain now. So,
Nick, here's a. I mean, it's worked for us. I say it worked for us because we did it twice and we bought the same house twice, or bought a house both times. But whoa, okay, we moved. But what we did when we sent in an offer is we also wrote like a handwritten letter to the sellers as well as a personal touch to an offer.
Yeah, like
dearest new.
What I'm thinking about this, because like. What I'm thinking with this house, I would really like to own this house, but I think it's one of those where they kind of know what they have, and they're like, we're not going below.
This market's fucked.
Yeah, and so
it's an uphill battle for you either way. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah,
it's too bad you couldn't like. It's not big enough to have like a compound where you could have like more people living.
It's a full bedroom.
You got Matt going and talking about
it's just me, man.
Moving into a hippie commune already. Yeah. Jeez, how many milligrams are in that gummy that you took?
Did you not see the garage, man? I can put all kinds of UV lamps in there and just grow my own shit.
Okay, so there you go.
I was outside the other day in the cul-de-sac, and my neighbor across the cul-de-sac was like called me over because he wanted to see the dog or whatever, and we started talking about gardening or whatever. And he just casually slipped in there. He's like, "Yeah, I've got some tomatoes here. I got my pot plants over here." I'm like, "I'm sorry, what'd you say?"
What?
He goes, pot. And he was definitely testing me out. He's like, it's legal now. I'm like, no, that's fucking great.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so happy that you're growing pot right now because I can't, because my wife won't let me do it with the kids. So the fact that he goes, oh yeah, I'm just doing it for fun. I'm not even gonna smoke it. You can have it. I was like,
nice.
Yes. This is like gonna be the best summer ever. free weed across the street. Come on over.
Yeah, my sister was showing me like basically on their Craigslist like all of these different pot plants that you can you can get.
I think we in Massachusetts are allowed to have 6 or 8 plants at any given time.
That's reasonable
to cultivate.
I'm not really into smoking it. At this point.
I'm not opposed to it.
Just consuming it.
Just consuming it as kind of more of a, end of the day.
And there's nothing wrong with that, Matt. We're not judging. You're in a safe place right now, Matt.
I actually kind of like rolling because it's fun. I mean, but I'm also not a huge smoker, but I do like rolling them. I think it's
okay.
Oh.
You said rolling, and I'm over there like, damn, Chris, I didn't know you were.
Oh, no. I'm talking about. I've never touched that stuff.
Okay.
But I'm talking about rolling joints. Yeah, like, I actually think there's actually, if you follow the. Wow. Okay. So if you follow the CEO of Raw Papers on Instagram, like he's fucking out of this world, but he's hilarious and he teaches people how to roll joints. Wow. It's fascinating to watch. But anyways, yeah, I like to eat them too.
Yeah. What was it? What was it?
Rolling. Keep those.
Somebody, I think it was a friend of mine who sent me a clip.
What?
And some guy had like consumed a shit ton of mushroom. What was it? Somebody was talking about mushrooms, and that's what it was. It was Mike Tyson. He was doing Mike Tyson podcast. He was talking to somebody about drugs, and he's like, "Yeah, I can't do Mike Tyson's voice, but you're like, yeah, man, and
don't do Mike Tyson's voice."
He's fucking listening right now.
This is what I do before every show, and he had a bag, an 8 of mushrooms that were solid, like gold caps. And I was like, dude, you know how bad those will fuck you up? And I can't believe he eats them that regularly. I was like,
he goes into a different dimension.
Yeah,
like that's the type of fucked up he gets.
At least he, I don't know.
What's that now?
I don't know where I was going with that. have nothing really to contribute to this show anymore. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Did you get all the names? Did you get the names down at least?
Are they good?
I did.
Is the last
All right.
one just like a squiggly line?
I may have phoned in the last one, but I think it's amazing.
Not gonna
No, I think it's amazing.
Not going to get their name called out anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, are we really rolling up this?
We can. It's an hour and a half. We're good. I'm sure some of the people out there in the chat will cry. But.
Well, no, don't be mean to the people of the chat.
Call your name out anymore.
We love you. Come on, there's at least 7 people joining us tonight. 52, 967. We love all of them that joined us live.
We do.
Primarily though, Randy,
just like the universe behind Matt,
Mike,
man. Like
John,
love is Loki, man.
UPS
Love
guy,
is
Matt
Loki.
Treast,
The
Sharon,
stars. Miami Mike says the stars behind
Cherry.
Matt perfectly sum
Sorry.
up Matt's edible. Matt on edibles right now.
I'm trying to scroll through and make sure that I just
You just saying the names though.
Kim, and of course.
Oh,
Are you just
Nick,
looking at things and saying you love them, Brick?
yeah.
Randy, of course,
Lamp.
Kim, Sherry, Sherry again for posting these humiliating photos.
That
Miami,
little duck
Mike
in the upper right hand corner reminding
For
us we're on StreamYard.
joining us. That's why I lit him up. That's how high we are, Miami Mike. Do one for patron Jack. Take a shot, Randy. So we've had one too many. In some ways I don't want this show to end. Like I'm like Jack. I'm like, no.
You're doing
Is it
yourself.
because you forgot how to stop the podcast?
No, I can stop the podcast.
Then it ends, man.
All right, so
Then it ends, and then I
But-
don't get to
but
see
we-
you guys for a week. And
and
this
you
is
wouldn't
kind of
be
a
able to
unique
thank the
thing.
patrons either.
Yeah, this is a unique show because Jack's not here. We didn't, highlight. This is probably like the first Ramblecast / Married Man that
In a
he's
long
ever
time.
been on. Like seriously, like
It's been a
He's
while.
been on.
Yeah.
He's been on like every single one, I think. So
No, there's
this
a couple. He's missed a couple. At
Okay,
least
so
two.
this is just basically Ellen and Baru's home edition. We didn't even talk Star Wars. Randy was getting his panties all in a bun. He was like, "Come on."
You talk Star Wars
We did.
for a minute. Yeah,
I did.
talked about listening to The Wall to Star Wars.
Oh yeah, that was pretty cool, man. Welcome.
that was
My
pretty cool.
son.
Welcome to the machine, Wally.
No, you don't watch Wally with it. You watch Star Wars because, look, man, it's 1975. Like it's before Star Wars comes out. So and George Lucas is listening to this stuff while he's writing Star Wars. He's like, "Hey, Steven, man, I got this idea about like space and the Force, and he's just getting all huffing and puffing with, probably with Harrison Ford too. He's just like, I'm just making you build shit, but I'm gonna hire you, and we're gonna make a shit ton of money, man. And so then George Lucas is just smoking the dupes and listening to Wish You Were Here, of course. And he's writing Star Wars. He's just like, man, this shit's so good. And then he comes up with the whole Force and the whole, like, man, my dad never loved me. And so that was Darth Vader. And then he was like, my sister never loved me. And then that was Leia. And it just flowed out,
Yeah.
That's deep, man.
And then he woke up the next day and he was like, what was that shit that we were smoking, Steven? And Spielberg had already left, and George's mom was like, George, you're never going to amount to anything.
Can you look in the camera right now and just say, Wendy, love of my life?
Wendy, love of my life?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
What is that?
Because you're talking like Jack Nichols.
Oh, am I? Sorry.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about like
I'm
a
not
really
going to hurt you.
I
Not
was
going to hurt you.
thinking about a really stoned George Lucas.
This has been my favorite 4 minutes of this episode. It really has been.
Miami Mike says, "Don't let this end." I mean, I don't know.
Don't let this end. Well, all great things do have to come to an end.
They do. And on that note, I'm gonna have Chris thank the patrons to make the show possible. Rate, review the show, do whatever you do. We do really appreciate it. And thank you so much for making this show possible. So
thank you, patrons. But specifically,
and with art this week again,
we would like to thank Tic Tac Jack.
Before we got another question from Miami Mac. Can you just say, Matt? Can you say,
Matt?
Hey man, you got a joint?
Yeah, it's party at the Moon Tower.
Yeah, party at the Moon Tower.
Full kegs.
Full kegs.
Everyone's gonna be there. So should you.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can.
It's cool.
All right. No.
All right. All right.
Hey man,
right.
there you go. It'd be a lot cooler if you did, man.
All right, Maggie, the Magnificent.
All right, I will read the names here. So we have Tic Tac Jack.
Because we've also been on TikTok a lot. Like we didn't even talk about
recently.
that. So
yeah. Eckhart Refinance Ragnarok Richter. Wow. Okay.
All right, yeah.
That's actually fucking clever. Ed the Yes, so good. Yeah. Joe and Oris. Ooh,
nice,
good one.
nice.
That's the monitor. Yeah.
And high def.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Amazing, Maggie.
well, earlier you said amazing, like you had that exclamation about something, and that's what I was bringing it back to.
Oh, sure, yeah. He's probably just saying, it really resonated with you, Matt.
I fucking love this.
the amazing,
so much happiness.
Well, we don't have to let this show end. We can just hang out and talk for a little bit more if you want to. I'm not going anywhere. I drank a bunch of coffee.
I am going to go to bed. So we're gonna end the show.
Okay, I see how it is. Somebody had an indica and somebody had sativa.
No, it's more like someone had 300 milligrams and the other didn't.
I didn't have 300. I'm just having.
Look how bright Chris is right now.
I said I pre-gamed and then okay, never mind.
You doubled down.
Guys, just be cool. Don't tell anybody.
Yeah.
I want. Yes, Mike says he wants to see this version of Matt versus an angry Jack.
Just be cool, man.
Why are you being so hostile right now, Jack?
Why you being harsh in my mellow, man?
Yeah. Your aura just went from like purple to like black, man. I don't dig that.
Well, we hope Jack's better. We'll be back next week before Chris and Matt take off. Or maybe we won't because we'll be sick. Great show, kids. This was 1 million.